I am having an indication that I might be in a parallel universe. So I'm going to ask you a really simple set of questions if you are familiar with the Las Vegas shooting and YouTubers that covered the subject or covered it up. Who is the creator of a definitive video detailing evidence that 3 helicopters, or whatever, shot at the Route 91 victims from overhead? And then went through a coroner report plotting the course of gunshot wounds, making the helicopter shooters more plausible. And I will add, expended a F-ton of effort alluding to these things without actually saying it, because plausible deniability is very important if you're going to be a truther, because you hint at things. I'm going to give examples later, but let's move on. And did this person ever backtrack or walk back any of the claims that are being asserted that was made about this person? Obviously, these aren't what was said or done in the videos. As of today, I'm being told that was never the assertion of this channel, that you're all probably thinking of if you're even a little bit familiar with the truthers on YouTube about Las Vegas shooting. Now, I want to point out something really quickly. The Las Vegas shooting was an incredibly confusing incident where a bunch of people had conflicting reports and especially witness reports about what the hell happened. Just like every other fucking thing that goes wrong in this world, people don't record things perfectly. And also, neither did the cell phone recordings. But let's get to the assertion for today. My video I posted was about this person saying this kind of stuff, and I didn't bring up, but the person also went out of their way to just ask questions. The reason it's called just answering questions is that just asking questions, or JAQing, or jacking, is done by people who do not want to be pinned down while they squirm out of an assertion they've made that they're trying to avoid making. There's a specific reason for it I'll bring up later maybe. But let's bring up today's comment. But Waptech, he admitted it wasn't helicopter rotors. It's in one of his videos. He admitted this mistake a long time ago. He doesn't admit, if he doesn't admit to something, he's a shill, this, that, or the other. If he admits his mistakes, you're now using plural, that means more than one, they're either unacknowledged. If he admitted something, we wouldn't acknowledge it. On YouTube, someone's saying they made a mistake. They're unacknowledged mistakes he admitted to, or we would rub it in. He's crazy for being wrong. Which is it? Why would you create a false dichotomy when I'm saying he's never admitted to a mistake he made, because he makes assertions, I'm going to say now, by hinting at it, and if he ever fessed up to anything, I can't see it anywhere, but okay, go ahead and point it to me. He didn't. And more importantly, he literally made it in video admitting that. I didn't say he was crazy for being wrong. I said he didn't admit that he was wrong about what he really asserted to. And I've never seen him ever walk back anything properly. And he always seems to weasel out of it or squirm out of it. But I don't know. But again, who is it we must be talking about that totally didn't say that the noises on a recording of 9 seconds or 19 seconds, depending on which video you're looking at, are a true indication of helicopter or chopper rotor noises? Or him hinting and beating around the bush and trying not to say gunshots? Okay, everybody knows which channel I'm talking about if you know anything about the subject. Before the 5-minute mark here, I want every one of you to post what's the name of that channel that always said it was machine gunners and helicopters and was obsessed about it to the point that made people furious with him. And I want you to tell me I'm in another parallel universe where he never said any of that. I'm not saying anything. I'm just asking questions and only presenting a very cherry-picked group of videos and assertions here to prove a point He was wrong when saying those were choppers that you heard. He didn't make that assertion. He said it was gunshots. Instead of GoPro anomaly, it's the GoPro Wi-Fi anomaly, but yes, that's what I said. And I also addressed this fully in the video you're commenting under. But where is this him saying it was rotor noises? Now that actually is something he could have said. He would have to assert, that sounds like helicopter noises. I'm going to get to that in a minute. He also stated in the video the flashes weren't gunfire from choppers, but normal helicopter lights. You say he ignores people correcting him, but it seems he gets ignored when he owns up to his mistakes. I've literally seen nobody referencing him walking this back, and it wasn't the noises. Now let me. There's also a joke at the end I'll do later, but I'm going to take this apart here. Your assertion you're making by just asking questions and mixing assertions is that John E Hoover Cullen vacusucker, the helicopter gunship guy, the helicopter shooters guy, the helicopter murderers guy, 3 helicopters shot at Route 91 victims guy. What he was really saying, I guess you're talking about that specific video, is that he was originally assuming that the sound he was hearing was the sound of helicopters only. Now let's take this apart really slowly. That would mean that he said, in effect, that because you can hear what sounds like helicopter rotors, which is what you're saying, that all he was saying is that in Las Vegas that night, there were helicopters in the sky. Now I want you to slow down here. We tried to debunk somebody who said that Las Vegas has helicopters in it, next to an airport. You see, when you really... I'm trying to be logical here. But you believe that what we were criticizing was him saying that there's helicopters in Las Vegas really close to a helicopter landing spot at a fucking airport. And that he shouldn't have assumed that there were helicopters in the air that night next to an airport in a city that has helicopter tours. That's not an assertion he made. He is infamous for claiming that there were helicopter gunships shooting people at the Las Vegas shooting. Why did you post this? Are you trying to make this blood vessel on the side of my head stick out even more than it does? Or this one explode because it's already popped out to the point that it'll never go back ever again? Are you trying to cause more gray hairs or have me pull them out? All right, let's go through this colostomy bag of squirt factor here. What video did he admit he ever made any kind of goddamn mistake? Was he saying, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have indicated it was the sound of helicopters when it was the sound of gunfire he was obviously alluding to? Do we acknowledge that he ever made a statement that could even be considered falsifiable by him definitively making a statement? Or was he always alluding to it? Why would he expend a bunch of effort trying to prove that there were helicopters in the air that day? When you look up helicopters in Las Vegas, let me take this to your logical conclusion here, not illogical conclusion. So you're not making a conclusion here. No conclusion. Go Vivi. So anyway, John E Hoover puts up a video. What does this sound like to you? I think it's helicopters. Okay. People type in helicopters in Las Vegas. What do you find? 3 things. Police helicopters, helicopter tours, and nearby, associated with Las Vegas, a company that lets you go up in a helicopter gunship and shoot targets, which is obviously what's being implied here. Well, he never said that. Did he just delete a bunch of videos that showed that this was going? I archived about 80% of this. Do I really have to fucking go through a bunch of archives now? I've had an entire channel lost because I insulted Adolf Hitler, and they took out my fucking YouTube channel that had all the other videos where I debunked this crap. I've had to search and scramble to look for shit to upload again some days, so every once in a while I re-upload a John E Hoover video explaining that he was making an assertion, even if he wasn't saying it outright, that was wrong. And is he a shill? He can't win any way he does, even if he acknowledges something that isn't the subject matter of any of his videos or anything we were talking about. The original assertion he made was, and this is the implied assertion, or maybe I'm in a parallel universe, is that the noise that you can hear in some of the GoPro recordings, because there was a GoPro recording he was referring to originally, makes a sound in the first 9 or 19 seconds, depending how long the video is, because some of them are chopped up, that sounds like A, something innocuous like a helicopter rotor in Las Vegas, which happens all the fucking time, or B, gunshots. Play the Jeopardy theme in your head. He wasn't implying it was rotor wash noises. As for the other one, he also stated in the video the flashes weren't gunfire from the choppers but normal helicopter lights. Most of the lights he's looking at were jets in the distance. It took him almost a year to acknowledge he was wrong about shit that we showed him immediately that he was wrong about. You say he ignores people correcting him. Yes, for a year at a time he fucking ignored people. And he then got to the point that after a while, when he was doing his statements about, I'm totally right about this, you can't debunk me, when people did it, he just quietly changed the subject matter and moved goalposts. We don't need outright acknowledgement, but if you're claiming that happened, where the fuck is it? And did he acknowledge the subject matter or some other random thing? I didn't say, I'm sorry I said that the helicopter noises I heard in the background happened. He was talking about them being gunshots. I stated that in the video. Now, I'm going to bring up some tactical bullshit here. One of the truther tactics is to do what I'm going to call Microsofting it. Along with all of the other things, I call this Microsofting. There's a joke about Microsoft Corporation. Conveniently, helicopter. Helicopter pilot and his friend are flying in Seattle. Long time ago. They can't figure out where they are because their navigation system's screwed up, and they're like, let's go over next to the building. There's a guy sitting on top of the building, or on a he's got a balcony. Where are we? You're in a helicopter. Thank you. Why'd you accept that answer? Oh, well, I know exactly where you are. That's Microsoft headquarters. How do you know that? Only a Microsoft idiot would tell you something as blatantly true and totally useless of a response of, you're in a helicopter. He admitted it wasn't something unrelated. That's not the fucking subject matter. But hey, whatever. But Wabtec, you just gave an example that had nothing to do with the subject meta joke. Yeah, it's a meta joke. When you post a video, I'm just asking questions. That means you're not making an assertion, so you can never be called a liar, even though you're obviously presenting an assertion as a question. Jeopardy theme mode. Next, that's why I actually tell people to play the Jeopardy theme. The other thing is, you can also just do a slideshow shit that proves the point that you're trying to make, but refuse to say what the fuck it is. I'm not saying anything. You guys interpreted what I said. Danger, Will Robinson. These are escape hatch maneuvers. These are ways of avoiding critique, not taking responsibility for your assertion. Now your assertion. You're claiming he's a shill. No, I'm claiming he's acting like controlled opposition. Very different subject matter. All he does is make it to where anybody who questions the police department in that town looks crazy. And you brought up that it was prop wash noises instead of gunfire. Now, of course, I'm totally wrong about this. I'm absolutely wrong. He never made any assertion like that. The video you're talking about is only that he was indicating that he could hear helicopters. That's totally what he was asserting. He has a video literally titled, "Were they shooting from helicopters?" That's not what he was talking about. He was just asking questions. We're now at that point. He's trying to rebrand himself or something. Goodbye. Thanks for watching. Good luck.